The freighter Pale Dawn dropped out of hyperspace with a soft shudder. Through the cockpit windows, the massive shape of Horizon's Edge filled the view. The station was enormous, a spinning wheel of metal and light floating against the black emptiness of space. Thousands of ships moved around it like insects around a hive. This was one of the busiest trade hubs in the sector, a place where dozens of alien species came to buy, sell, and make deals. Stood behind the pilot's chair, watching the station grow larger. She was a small woman with dark hair tied back in a simple knot. Her face was calm, her eyes quiet. She wore the plain gray jumpsuit of a cargo specialist, and nothing about her appearance suggested anything special. She looked like what she was, a worker on a small trading ship, one of millions who moved goods across the galaxy. Captain guided the ship toward their assigned docking bay. He was an older man with gray in his hair and deep lines around his eyes. He had been trading in space for 30 years, and he had learned one important lesson: stay out of trouble. Trouble was expensive. Trouble got people killed. "Medical supplies for the colony on 7, said, not looking away from his controls. "We deliver, we get paid, we leave. Simple job." "Simple is good," said from the engineering station. She was younger than, with a round face and quick smile. She and had worked together for 3 years now, and they had become close friends. "I heard this station has real food, not paste, actual cooked meals." "Don't get comfortable," warned. "I want us off this station in 2 days." The docking clamps locked onto the Pale Dawn with a heavy clunk, felt the vibration through her boots. She picked up her tablet and checked the cargo manifest one more time. Everything was in order. It always was. She was careful about her work. They walked through the airlock and into the station. The air smelled different here, recycled but clean, with hints of food and fuel and the strange sense of alien bodies. The corridors were wide and filled with beings of every shape and size. Saw tall, thin creatures with blue skin, short, heavy beings covered in thick fur, things with too many eyes, things with no eyes at all. She had grown used to the variety of galactic life, but it still amazed her sometimes. Led them toward the commerce district. They needed to meet with their buyer and collect payment before unloading the cargo. Standard procedure. They had walked for only 10 minutes when noticed something wrong. A group of aliens stood in the middle of a marketplace. They were tall, nearly 3 meters, with pale gray skin stretched tight over angular bones. Their eyes were large and black, and they wore armor that gleamed under the station lights. Each one carried a weapon at their hip. Recognized them from the briefing files. A warrior species from the outer systems. They had a reputation for aggression and a strong belief in their own superiority. They considered most other species to be weak and worthy of contempt. They were surrounding a small merchant, a furry creature barely a meter tall who was trembling as one of the warriors shouted at him. The merchant's goods were scattered on the ground. Other station residents hurried past, looking away, pretending not to see. "Keep walking," said quietly. "Not our problem." They kept walking, looked back once. The merchant was now on his knees offering something to the. They took it and laughed. Station security was nowhere to be seen. The buyer's office was clean and professional. A named trader handled their transaction, were reptilian beings with scales that changed color with their mood. Scales were a calm blue as he transferred the payment to account. "Good doing business with you," said. His voice was a soft hiss. "Though I am surprised you came to Horizon's Edge right now. Things have been difficult." "We noticed," said the. Scales flickered to an uneasy yellow. "They arrived 6 weeks ago. A trade delegation, they claimed. But they brought soldiers. Many soldiers. Station security is too small to challenge them, and the Galactic Council has not responded to our requests for assistance." "What do they want?" asked. "Control, influence. They test boundaries constantly. They demand fees that do not exist. They take what they want from those who cannot stop them, and they watch for weakness." Looked at the 3 humans with something like concern. They have been particularly interested in your species. Felt something cold settle in her stomach. Interested how? Humans are new to this sector. Your kind has been in space for only a few centuries. Many species consider you unproven. They believe you are soft. They have been probing human responses, looking for how far they can push before you push back. And what have they found? Asked. That humans pay their fees and walk away. That humans do not fight. Scales shifted to a worried gray. I tell you this as a warning, Captain. The respect only strength. If they believe you are weak, they will treat you as prey. They left the office in silence. The walk back to the ship felt longer than before. Noticed more now, standing at corners, watching the crowds with their black eyes. One of them looked directly at her as she passed. He was massive, his armor decorated with marks that might have been battle honors. He smiled, showing teeth that were sharp and numerous. Did not smile back. She did not look away either. She simply walked past, her face empty of expression. The smile faded slightly. He watched her go, something like curiosity in his dark eyes. Back on the pale dawn gathered the crew in the common room. There were 7 of them in total, small for a freighter this size, but they worked well together. New rules announced. Nobody goes on the station alone. Stay in groups of 3 or more. Do not engage with the under any circumstances. If they demand money, pay it. If they want cargo, let them take it. Nothing we carry is worth dying for. Captain, one of the younger crew members said, are we really going to let them push us around? Yes, said flatly. Because we are 7 people on a cargo ship and they have a warship with 200 soldiers. I am not a hero. I am a trader. My job is to keep this crew alive and get paid. We finish our delivery tomorrow and we leave this station. Understood. Everyone nodded. It was the sensible choice, the safe choice. Nodded too. But later, alone in her quarters, she sat on her bunk and stared at the wall. Her hands rested on her knees, completely still. She thought about the merchant on his knees. She thought about the smile. She thought about what it meant to be seen as prey. Outside her small window, the stars burned cold and distant. Somewhere on the station they were watching, waiting, testing. They believed humans were soft. Closed her eyes. They were wrong. 3 days passed. The pale dawn should have been gone by now, but a problem with the station's cargo processing system had delayed their departure. Paperwork, they said. Technical difficulties. Suspected they were involved, but he could not prove it, and complaining would only make things worse. So they waited. Spent her time in the cargo bay, checking their remaining supplies, keeping herself busy. She did not like being trapped on the station. The tension was everywhere now, thick in the air like the smell of something burning. Every day brought new stories. A trader beaten for refusing to pay a bribe. A ship seized for carrying illegal goods that were perfectly legal yesterday. A family of refugees turned away from the docks because they could not afford the new entry fee. They were growing bolder. They no longer pretended to follow station rules. They made their own rules now. On the 4th day, met. He was young, maybe 22, with a thin face and nervous hands. He worked on the docks as a loader, moving cargo from ships to warehouses. He was human, one of a small group who had come to Horizon's Edge looking for work. He had been here only 3 months. It wasn't like this when I arrived, told her. They were sitting in the station cantina, a loud and crowded place that smelled of 100 different foods. They were here, but they kept to themselves. Now they act like they own the station. Maybe they do, said. She was drinking water. She rarely drank anything stronger. Someone should do something. Hands tightened around his cup. The station council, the security forces, someone. They can't just let this happen. They can, they are. His voice was flat. They have weapons and soldiers. The station has neither, so the station bends. It's not right. No, it's not. Arrived and dropped into the seat next to, her face was troubled. Did you hear? They seized the medical supplies from Bay 7, the whole shipment. said it was contaminated. Was it? Asked. Of course not. Those supplies were going to a hospital on the outer rim, children's ward. Now they have them and they're probably going to sell them for 10 times the price. Shook her head. This is getting worse every day. Said nothing, but something behind her eyes had grown very cold. The next morning it happened. Was walking through Cargo Bay 12 when she heard shouting. She knew that voice, young, frightened, trying to be brave. She moved toward the sound and found him surrounded by 4 soldiers. They had blocked the entrance to a storage unit that held supplies marked for the 7 colony. The same supplies the Pale Dawn was supposed to deliver. This cargo requires inspection, one of them was saying. He was taller than the others, his armor marked with silver lines, an officer of some kind. You will open it now. I can't do that, said. His voice shook, but he stood his ground. These supplies are registered and sealed. Only the receiving party can open them. I am telling you to open them. And I'm telling you I can't. It's not my decision. Talk to the station authority. The officer moved fast. His arm swept out and struck across the face. The young man went down hard, crashing into a stack of crates. Blood ran from his nose. I do not talk to station authority, the officer said. He stood over, looking down with contempt. I talk to you, and you will do what I say, or I will teach you what happens to humans who refuse. The other soldiers laughed. Walked forward. Her footsteps were quiet on the metal floor. She did not hurry. She moved with a calm, steady pace that drew the attention of every in the bay. They turned to look at her, this small human woman in her plain gray jumpsuit, walking toward them like she was taking a stroll in a park. She reached and helped him to his feet. He was shaking, blood dripping down his chin, but he was conscious. She handed him a cloth from her pocket. Hold this to your nose, she said quietly. Lean forward, not back. Then she turned to face the officer. He was enormous up close. Nearly 3 meters tall, his body built for speed and violence. His black eyes looked down at her with amusement. To him, she was nothing, an insect, a momentary distraction. Another human, he said, come to beg for your friend. That cargo belongs to sick children on 7, said. Her voice was calm, almost soft. It contains medicine they need to survive. If you take it, people will die. Then people will die, the officer smiled. What is that to me? A crime, when you will answer for. The laughter died in the throats of the other soldiers. Something in her voice had changed. Something cold and sharp, like the edge of a blade. The officer stopped smiling. He leaned down, bringing his face close to hers. His breath was hot and smelled of meat. Are you threatening me, human? I'm warning you. Did not blink, did not step back. One warning, that's all you get. Behind her had arrived. She grabbed his arm. Don't, she whispered urgently. They're looking for an excuse. Did not turn around, so am I. The officer straightened. His amusement had returned, but there was something else behind it now. Uncertainty. This human was not acting the way humans were supposed to act. She was supposed to be afraid. She was supposed to back down. She was doing neither. You have courage, the officer said, or stupidity. In my experience, they are the same thing. He gestured to his soldiers. Take the cargo. The soldiers moved forward. Did not move. Commander, a new voice cut through the tension. Another had entered the bay, this one older, his armor marked with gold. He was clearly of higher rank. We are needed elsewhere, now. The officer turned to argue, but something in the older's expression stopped him. He looked back at, his black eyes promising that this was not over. We will continue this conversation later, he said. I'll be here, replied. The left. The cargo bay fell silent except for the hum of the station's systems and its ragged breathing. Let out a breath she had been holding. Are you insane? Do you know who that was? Commander commands the ground forces on this station. He's killed people for less. I know who he is. His voice was still calm, still soft, but her hands hanging at her sides had closed into fists. And now he knows who I am. Who are you? Asked, staring at her with wide eyes. Looked at him. For a moment, something flickered behind her quiet expression. Something old and patient and very, very dangerous. Someone who doesn't give warnings twice. She walked away, leaving and standing in the cargo bay, staring after her. The game had changed. The just didn't know it yet. The next day, Commander came looking for her. Was in cargo bay 12 again, supervising the final loading of supplies onto the pale dawn. Captain had managed to clear the paperwork at last, and they were scheduled to depart within hours. A few more hours, and they would be gone from this station forever. But had other plans. He arrived with 6 soldiers more than before. They marched into the cargo bay like an army entering conquered territory. Workers scattered out of their way. Machines stopped. The whole bay went quiet. Saw them coming. She set down her tablet and stood waiting. Was beside her, face pale with fear. Please, just apologize. Tell him you didn't mean it. We can still walk away from this. No, said, we can't. Stopped 5 meters away. He was smiling again, that cold smile full of sharp teeth. Behind him, his soldiers spread out, blocking any escape routes. They were enjoying this. They had done it many times before. I told you we would continue our conversation, said. His voice echoed in the silent bay. You embarrassed me yesterday, human. You made me look weak in front of my soldiers. That cannot be allowed. I gave you a warning, said. You chose not to listen. Warnings? Laughed. You warned me. Do you know what I am? My species has conquered 100 worlds. We have crushed civilizations older than your entire existence. And you, a small, soft creature from a small, soft planet, you think you can warn me? Yes. The word hung in the air, simple, final. Smile faded, his black eyes grew hard. Your species is young, new to space, new to the galaxy. You have not yet learned your place. Perhaps I should teach you. He stepped forward. His soldiers moved with him, a wall of gray skin and gleaming armor. Kneel, commanded. Kneel and apologize for your disrespect. Do this, and I will let you leave this station alive. Did not kneel. She did not move at all. She stood there, small and still, looking up at the massive warrior like he was nothing more than a minor inconvenience. No. His face twisted with rage. He was not used to defiance. He was not used to being refused. His arm drew back, preparing to strike. A backhanded blow meant to humiliate, to break, to remind this foolish human of her place. The strike came fast, were quick, everyone knew that. Their reflexes were legendary. His hand cut through the air like a blade aimed at her face. Moved faster. Her hand came up and caught his wrist. Her fingers closed around it like a vice. She did not stumble. She did not bend. She simply stopped his arm in midair, holding it as easily as one might hold a child's hand. The cargo bay went absolutely silent. Stared at his trapped arm, his face showing something it had never shown before, confusion. He tried to pull free. He could not. He tried again, harder, putting his full strength into it. The human woman did not move. Her grip was iron. No, it was stronger than iron. It was impossible. A security drone hovering near the ceiling activated with a soft hum. Its sensors swept over, analyzing her vital signs, her muscle density, her threat potential. The drone's indicator light shifted from green to yellow to red. The scanner locked red. On screens throughout the cargo bay, a warning appeared. Combat-adapted organism DETCTD. Threat level, maximum. Do not engage. The soldiers looked at the screens. They looked at. For the first time, doubt crept into their eyes. Spoke, her voice was calm, almost gentle, like a teacher explaining something simple to a slow student. Your species evolved on Prime. Low gravity, thin atmosphere. You're fast because you had to catch prey that could fly, but your bones are hollow like a bird's, light and brittle. She tightened her grip slightly, gasped in pain. I grew up on Earth, one full gravity, thick atmosphere. My ancestors spent millions of years hunting animals that could kill them with a single blow. We didn't evolve speed. We evolved endurance. We evolved strength. We evolved to take damage and keep going. She pulled him down, forcing the mighty commander to bend toward her. Their faces were close now, her dark eyes staring into his black ones. You think we're soft because we don't start fights. You think we're weak because we try to solve problems with words. But that's not weakness, Commander. That's restraint. We hold back because we know what happens when we don't. Let me go, hissed. His voice had lost all its confidence. He sounded like what he was, a bully who had finally met something he could not bully. I gave you one warning, said. You dismissed it. You swung anyway, so let me be clear. She released his wrist suddenly, and he stumbled backward, nearly falling. If you swing again, I won't catch it. I'll break it. If you touch any human on this station again, I will find you. And what I do then will make your conquest of 100 worlds look like a pleasant memory. Clutched his wrist. Her grip had left marks on his skin, deep bruises that were already darkening. He had never been bruised before. His skin did not bruise easily. What kind of creature could do this? What are you? He whispered. Smiled. It was a small smile, but there was nothing warm in it. Human. She turned her back on him and walked toward. It was a deliberate insult. In culture, turning your back on an enemy meant you did not consider them a threat. Soldiers tensed, waiting for the order to attack. The order did not come. Looked at the red warning still flashing on every screen. He looked at this human woman walking away from him like he was beneath her notice. He thought about the stories he had heard, stories he had dismissed as propaganda. Humans who ran for days without stopping. Humans who survived injuries that should have killed them. Humans who fought and died and kept fighting even as they died. He had thought those stories were lies. He was no longer sure. Commander, one of his soldiers asked uncertainly. Straightened, his face was a mask hiding the fear that churned in his stomach. We're leaving. But sir, I said we're leaving. They left. The cargo bay remained silent for a long moment after they were gone. Then slowly the workers began to move again. The machine started up. Life returned. But nothing was the same. Reached side, her hands were shaking. The scanner locked red. I've never seen that before, ever. Do you know how rare that is? Most species barely register yellow. I know, said. The whole station saw that. Everyone. The security feeds go everywhere. I know. Stared at her friend. This woman she had worked beside for 3 years. This quiet, unremarkable cargo specialist who had just made a commander look like a frightened child. Who are you? Asked. It was the same question it asked. Looked at her. For a moment she looked tired and old and sad. I'm nobody special, she said. I'm just human, that's the point. She picked up her tablet and went back to work. Above them, the security drone continued to hover, its red light pulsing softly. Across the station, the footage was already spreading. By tomorrow, the whole sector would know what had happened in Cargo Bay 12. The humans were not soft. The galaxy was about to learn that the hard way. The footage spread like fire. Within hours, every screen on Horizon's edge had shown the clip. A small human woman catching a commander's strike with her bare hand. The scanner locking red. The fear in his eyes as he realized he could not break free. Within a day, the footage had reached every station in the sector. Within 2 days, it was everywhere. In the station's command center, Director watched the clip for the 20th time. Was a species known for their calm judgment and neutral stance in galactic affairs. Their skin was smooth and gray, their eyes large and golden. They had served as station director for 15 years, and they had seen many things. They had never seen anything like this. Run the analysis again, said. The technician beside them, a young being with too many arms, worked the console. Data scrolled across the screen: biological readings, force calculations, threat assessments. The human female's grip strength exceeded 2,000 newtons, the technician reported. Commander's maximum resistance was approximately 800 newtons. She was operating at less than half her capacity. Less than half, repeated. Yes, Director. The scanner's red designation was accurate. Based on the biological data, a single human of this type would require a minimum of 4 soldiers to subdue, possibly more. Leaned back in their chair. And this human, she is not special, not a soldier, not genetically modified. No, Director, she is a cargo specialist. Her records show no military training. She is, by human standards, completely ordinary. Ordinary, the word hung in the air, heavy with new meaning. The door to the command center opened. Commander entered, followed by 2 guards. His wrist was wrapped in a healing bandage. The bruises had darkened to a deep purple. He walked stiffly, his pride wounded more severely than his body. Behind him came another figure. Station Director recognized him from the files. The human diplomatic assigned to this sector. He was a tall man with a serious face and careful eyes. He had been stationed on Horizon's Edge for 2 years, mostly handling minor trade disputes. Today, his job had become much more complicated. Commander demands the arrest of the human female, a aide announced, for assault on an officer. Assault, raised an eyebrow. My security footage shows Commander striking first. The human female acted in self-defense. She threatened me, growled. She humiliated me in front of my soldiers. She gave you a verbal warning which you ignored. Then she used minimal force to stop your attack. His voice was flat. By station law, her actions were entirely justified. There will be no arrest. His face twisted with rage. Then I will handle this matter myself, Justice. You will not. Stood, and though they were smaller than the commander, something in their posture made hesitate. You are on my station, Commander. My laws apply here. If you take any action against the human female or any human on this station, I will invoke Emergency Protocol 7 and request immediate military assistance from the Galactic Council. The Council laughed, but it was a nervous laugh. The Council does nothing, they never have. Perhaps, but they might make an exception. You see, I have been reviewing reports from other sectors. Interesting reports. Touched a control and a new image appeared on the screen. This is from Nexus 4, 3 months ago. A patrol encountered resistance from a human settlement. 11 of your soldiers were killed. By how many humans? Demanded. 1, let the word sink in. A retired farmer, age 63. He used farming tools. The room went very quiet. There are more reports, continued. Many more. Humans surviving injuries that would kill any other species. Humans fighting for days without sleep. Humans refusing to surrender even when defeat was certain. Your intelligence officers dismissed these reports as exaggerations. I am beginning to think they were understatements. Said nothing, his face had gone pale. Stepped forward. He had been silent until now, watching the exchange with careful attention. Director, Commander, perhaps we can find a resolution that satisfies everyone. There is no resolution, spat. This human woman has shamed me. My honor demands. Your honor demands that you not start a war you cannot win, interrupted. His voice was quiet but firm. Commander, I understand your culture values strength and dominance, but you have misread my species. We do not avoid conflict because we are weak. We avoid it because we know what we are capable of. He walked to the screen and brought up a new image. Earth, a blue and green world, beautiful and fragile-looking against the blackness of space. This is for most of our history, we were the most dangerous predators on that planet. We hunted animals 10 times our size. We survived ice ages, volcanic eruptions, plagues, and wars. We killed so many other species that we had to create laws to stop ourselves. He turned to face. We are not new to violence, Commander. We are very, very good at it. We simply choose not to use it unless we must." "And if you must?" asked. His voice had lost its anger. Now there was only uncertainty. "Then we do not stop until the threat is eliminated, completely." Eyes were steady. "Our history is filled with examples. Nations that attacked us and no longer exist. Enemies who thought they could conquer us and were erased from memory. We are capable of mercy, Commander, but we are equally capable of the opposite." The command center was silent. Director watched the exchange with fascination. This was a side of humans they had never seen before, the side that lay beneath the friendliness and cooperation and trade agreements. It was terrifying. Stared at for a long moment, then he turned and walked toward the door. At the entrance he paused. "This is not over," he said, but his voice held no conviction. "Yes," replied, "it is." The door closed behind them. Let out a breath. That was impressive. I did not know humans could be so direct. We usually prefer not to be. Serious expression softened slightly, but sometimes directness is necessary. "What will you do now? The footage has spread everywhere. Every species in the sector is talking about what happened." Considered the question. "I need to speak with the woman involved." "To discipline her?" "No," a small smile crossed his face. "To thank her and to prepare her for what comes next." "What does come next?" Looked at the image of Earth still glowing on the screen. His people, a species that had always been underestimated, dismissed, overlooked. Until now. "Change," he said. "For better or worse, the galaxy's view of humanity has just changed. We are no longer the new species, the soft species, the species that backs down. We are something else now, something that makes scanner drones lock red." He turned away from the screen. "I hope we use that reputation wisely, because once it's established, there's no going back." He left the command center to find. Behind him, Director stared at the empty doorway, thinking about everything they had learned. Humans, such small creatures, such soft skin, such gentle smiles. And beneath it all, something that could break a commander's wrist without effort. Decided then that they would never, ever make an enemy of humanity. Some lessons only needed to be learned once. 1 week later, everything had changed. Their inspection demands. Officially, they called it a policy review. Unofficially, commander superiors had ordered all personnel to avoid direct confrontation with humans. The word had come from the highest levels. Do not provoke them. Do not test them. Leave them alone. Trade on Horizon's Edge returned to normal. The merchants who had been harassed for months walked freely again. The corridors were quieter now, calmer. The soldiers still patrolled, but they kept their distance. They no longer demanded bribes. They no longer seized cargo. They looked at humans with something new in their eyes, not hatred, not contempt, but a careful, watchful wariness. Respect born from fear. Stood at a viewport in the observation deck, watching the ships come and go. The Pale Dawn had departed 3 days ago, its medical supplies finally delivered to the children of 7. Captain had offered her a permanent position on his crew. She had declined. "Something else for me to do," she had told him. She did not explain what. Now she waited. She was good at waiting. The door behind her opened. Entered, his footsteps quiet on the metal floor. He came to stand beside her at the viewport. "You've become famous," he said. "The footage has been viewed billions of times. Species across the galaxy are studying it, analyzing it, trying to understand." "Understand what?" "You humans, what we really are," he paused. "You've scared a lot of people." She did not respond. Her reflection in the glass was faint, ghost-like. "The Galactic Council has requested a formal briefing on human capabilities," continued. "They want to know everything, our biology, our history, our psychology. They're particularly interested in our capacity for violence." "And what will you tell them?" "The truth, that we are exactly what we appear to be, a young species trying to find our place in the galaxy, that we prefer peace and cooperation, that we mean no harm to anyone who means no harm to us. And the other truth was quiet for a moment, that we are also the species that domesticated wolves because we thought they would make good friends, that we climb mountains because they exist, that we sent people to our moon not because it was easy, but because it was hard. He looked at her. That we are capable of love and kindness and mercy, and also capable of things that would make them look like children playing at war. Nodded slowly. They needed to know, all of them, they needed to understand that kindness is not weakness. Did it have to happen this way, publicly, dramatically? Yes, her voice was certain. Words are not enough. Data is not enough. They needed to see it. They needed to feel it. One moment of truth is worth 1,000 reports. The door opened again. Entered, his face still showing faint bruises from his blow. He had recovered quickly. Humans always did. But the marks would take a few more days to fade completely. He approached them hesitantly. I wanted to thank you, he said too, for what you did, for standing up when nobody else would. Anyone would have done the same. No, shook his head. They wouldn't have, I've seen it. People walk away. People look down. People pretend not to notice. But you didn't. Why? Turned from the viewport to face him. For a moment, she looked at him in silence, this young man who was still learning what it meant to live among the stars. Because that's what humans do, she said finally. We stand up, even when we're afraid, even when we're outnumbered, even when everyone tells us to walk away. We stand up because someone has to, because if we don't, who will? Stared at her. Then slowly he nodded. Something had changed in his eyes, a new understanding, a new resolve. I want to be like that, he said. I want to be the kind of person who stands up. Then be that person. It's a choice. Every day, every moment, you choose who you are. He left a few minutes later, walking taller than before. Watched him go. You've inspired him, he said. I've given him something to think about. What he does with it is up to him. A soft chime sounded from the speakers. A new ship had entered the docking queue, checked his communicator and raised an eyebrow. Interesting. A diplomatic vessel. They're requesting a formal meeting with human representatives. That was fast. They're scared. Put the communicator away. Their entire strategy for this sector was based on the assumption that humans were weak. Now they have to rebuild from nothing. They're desperate to understand us, to find a way to coexist without conflict. Will you meet with them? Of course, that's my job, he paused. Would you like to be there? Shook her head. I'm not a diplomat, I'm a cargo specialist. You're more than that now. Whether you like it or not, you've become a symbol, the human who caught this blow, the woman who made the scanner lock red. I didn't ask for that. No, but it happened anyway. Turned to face her directly. The galaxy is watching us now. They're watching to see what we do next. Will we be tyrants? Will we use our strength to dominate the way they did, or will we be something else? What do you think we'll be? He smiled. It was a tired smile, but genuine. I think we'll be human, which means we'll make mistakes. We'll have our moments of cruelty and stupidity and fear, but we'll also have our moments of courage and kindness and hope. We'll stumble and we'll get back up and we'll keep trying to be better than we were. Looked at him for a long moment, then she nodded. That's all anyone can do. Later she found in the station cantina. Her friend was sitting alone at a table, nursing a drink and staring at nothing. You stayed, said when sat down across from her. For now. Why, the pale dawn is gone. There's nothing keeping you here. Was quiet for a moment. Through the cantina windows, she could see the stars, countless points of light scattered across the infinite darkness. Somewhere out there, other species were watching recordings of what she had done. They were reassessing their assumptions about humanity. They were learning to see her people in a new way. Someone needs to stay, she said finally. Someone needs to show them that we're not going anywhere, that we're part of this galaxy now and we're not afraid. And that someone is you. For now, until others come, until it doesn't need to be me anymore. Reached across the table and took her hand. I'm staying too, then. Someone has to keep you out of trouble. Smiled, it was a small smile but warm. Thank you. They sat together in comfortable silence, watching the stars. Outside in the docking bay, the diplomatic vessel was landing. Inside the station's command center, Director was preparing for meetings that would reshape the political landscape of the sector. Across the galaxy, billions of beings were talking about humans, about what they were, what they could do, what they might become. And in a small cantina on a spinning station in the middle of nowhere, two human women sat together, drinking their drinks and watching the universe go by. The galaxy had learned something important that week, something that would echo through history for generations to come. Humans did not start fights, but they finished them. And that made all the difference.